it's Maddie. So today I'm going to be talking to you about why I'm no longer on the raw food or vegan diet. First of all, I'd like to state that I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a dietitian or nutritionist. I'm just simply someone who wants to share with you guys my story and some of the research that I've done, and also my experience with these diets and how it affected my health. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoy the video. It seems like society today makes the topic of what type of diet you should be on so confusing and just so complicated, when really it should just be very simple. When I first started my health journey about 2 years ago, one of the things that I noticed was that there was so many different doctors and dietitians and nutritionists through my research that I found that just had so many different opinions on what it meant to eat a healthy diet and to live a truly natural lifestyle. When I realized I couldn't get one answer from throughout my research, from doctors and dietitians, I just thought to myself, what am I to do? So that's what led me to dig deeper into my research and really think about what made sense to me when it came to eating a natural, healthy diet and living a natural lifestyle. What made sense to me was to look back at our ancestors and look back at what they ate and how it affected their health, and to also look at different cultures around the world today and what they eat and how it affects their health. And whenever I started digging deeper into this kind of research, it led me to two amazing sources. And the two sources is Daniel Vitalis, who is a food expert, and Weston A. Price, a dentist. What these two experts have in common is they both study different cultures around the world and what they eat and their diets, how it affects their health. What a lot of vegans and vegetarians like to say, including me when I was one, is that if you eat meat, then you won't be able to live as long as people who don't eat meat. And what a lot of vegans and vegetarians tend to ignore is the fact that some of the healthiest people in the world eat meat. But of course, they still balance it out with a ton of vegetables and fruits, and they just have an overall balance in their diet. Another thing that I learned from Daniel Vitalis is that to look at a dog, for instance. So a dog hasn't always been on Earth. A dog is a domesticated version of a wolf. And he said that you can look at us humans in the same way. We're pretty much domesticated versions of ourselves. And we've just become so modernized with society, and especially in our diets. We just go to the grocery stores and you see a ton of just processed foods and just processed everything, and we've just become so out of touch with what it really means to live a healthy life and to eat a healthy diet. We're told to follow some magical diet or take some magical supplement or drink to have vitality and to be healthy, or we're told to starve ourselves, which will, help us lose weight, but it's not a long-term plan. You don't want to starve yourself for the rest of your life just to keep the weight off. It's all about finding a balance and just eating a healthy diet. Another pet peeve of mine is when people a lot of people today kind of look down on eating healthy as, boring or not cool. But really, to me, eating healthy is just a really beautiful thing because, there's just so much variety and it makes you feel so good, and it brings you happiness, and food is what brings you comfort. It brings you around family. It shouldn't be something looked down upon. When you eat healthy, you can do things that you want to do and that you're meant to do on earth, to the best of your ability. You'll have an overall balance in your body with as far as emotions and your physical health. It's just a very beautiful thing if you look at it that way. To me, eating healthy should not be complicated. I believe, that you should eat what God intended for us to eat, what He put on earth for us and provided for us to eat, and such as plants and animals. Okay, so let's rewind a bit to when I was in high school, junior high, high school. I never had any teeth issues. I never had any problems with my teeth. I remember I never had to really go to the dentist to get any cavities filled. My teeth, I never had any pain. I had overall healthy teeth, but I ate like crap. And I know you're wondering, you're thinking, what in the world does, dental health have to do with this video? And it actually has a lot to do with it. I ate like any typical teenager. I ate processed foods. I drank a lot of soda. Fast forward to 2 years ago, and I decided to become a vegetarian. So I didn't eat meat. I ate a lot of beans and grains to supplement my protein. I thought I was eating a lot better. But then I went to the dentist, and I got some pretty devastating news. I found out that I had 9 cavities in my teeth. Not just 1 or 2, I had 9 cavities. And so I was pretty shocked because, here I was with my new supposedly healthy diet, and I just, thought that it would free me from all diseases, including mouth problems. So, I had no idea that my diet had anything to do with the mouth problems that I was having. So I continued on with my new healthy diet, and I even went more extreme, and I went to be a vegan. Everything went downhill. I just started feeling very sluggish and tired, and I noticed that my teeth problems were getting worse. There was a big difference in my dental health than when I was in high school. And the difference is, in high school I was actually eating meat, and I wasn't deficient in any of those vitamins and minerals that is found in animal proteins, and it was helping to remineralize my teeth. But when I started my vegetarian diet, I and took out all most of my animal protein, then that's when things started wreaking havoc. So one day when I was thinking about my cavities, I realized how it just didn't make sense to me that we just developed a couple cavities in our lifetime and got them filled and everything's okay. It didn't make sense to me that society today makes that the norm. Because our bodies were created to thrive and fight disease, not develop disease and be unhappy and uncomfortable. So that's when I did more research on my mouth and how to remineralize my cavities and heal my mouth. And that's when I found Weston A. Price, who I talked about earlier in the video, who's a dentist. I also discovered a book called Cure Tooth Decay by Remy L. Nigel, which is a really good book. I hope you guys read it. It really opened my eyes to listening to my body and how to boost my oral health. When I discovered, his website and all of his information in this book, everything started to make sense. From his research, I learned the importance of animal protein in our diets and how it affects our oral health and our overall health. So one of the things that I learned from the book Cure Tooth Decay by Remy L. Nigel was he had all these studies about people around the world in different cultures, and some of the healthiest people in the world were eating animal protein, and they were living off the land. So another thing that I figured out was that I was deficient in a lot of vitamins and minerals that is found in animal protein, such as A, D, E, K2, and B12, and zinc. And a lot of vegetarians and vegans might add that you can get these vitamins and minerals from other sources, plant sources, but it might not be as digestible in plant form. I think that it's more natural to me to eat those vitamins and minerals from an animal protein source rather than having to eat a lot of plants to get as much of that vitamin mineral that is found in animal protein. Some vitamins and minerals that is found in animal protein isn't as high in plant form, and a lot of it you might have to supplement. So I just believe it just seems like a way more natural way to get your vitamins and minerals through the actual source than having to take a supplement. As far as protein, you can get protein from plant sources. That's why whenever I was a vegetarian and a vegan, my main source of protein was grains and beans. I would eat them together. That's another thing that vegans and vegetarians need to be aware of is, grains and beans and nuts. They're protein sources, but by themselves, they're not a complete protein. A complete protein is made up of 9 amino acids. So that is why if you just eat grains by itself, it doesn't have all the 9 amino acids of a complete protein. So whatever amino acids grains doesn't have, beans have. So whenever you pair the two together, it makes a complete protein. The reason why I don't like using beans, grains, and nuts as a main protein source anymore in my diet is because I discovered that it contains a lot of phytic acid, which is an anti-nutrient. It binds to essential vitamins and minerals in our body that we need, and takes them out of your body. So, beans, grains, and nuts all contain high amounts of phytic acid. That's another reason why animal protein, I rather use that as a protein source than beans, grains, and nuts. Phytic acid also wreaks havoc on your teeth and can make them it can cause cavities. There is ways to kind of reduce the phytic acid in the beans, grains, and nuts, but I still don't recommend using that as a main protein source because it doesn't take out all the phytic acid. You can soak them. You can soak your beans and your nuts and your seeds as well. I should have mentioned that seeds also has phytic acid. And you can also bake them in the oven, and it will, take away some of the phytic acid, but I don't think there's been any studies done to show what you can do to take away all the phytic acid. I don't know if that's possible or not. If I do eat beans, nuts, and seeds, I make sure that they're soaked and they're baked, and I only eat them in moderation. I don't want to risk any problems in my body caused by the phytic acid. Another thing that I learned from Weston A. Price is that he actually discovered a new substance called Activator X. Whenever he was traveling around the world and studying all these different cultures and what they ate, what he discovered was that this substance was found in some of the healthiest people in the world. And he found that Activator X is actually found in only animal protein. One of the main sources is unpasteurized, grass-fed butter. You'll know if it's unpasteurized and grass-fed, it will have like this deep, rich yellow color. You can actually buy Activator X offline, and I'll put the link to that down below the video. It's actually lactose-free. The big deal about Activator X is that it helps our body absorb and use essential minerals that is important for our body to have. It's described as being the missing link to our conventional diets today. So also during my time being a vegan, I actually tried being raw. I found this group of raw foodists, and they believe that when you cook food, that it actually becomes toxic to the body because it kind of messes up the chemistry and the proteins in the food. But that didn't last long because I decided to dig deeper and research more into it and discovered that actually, cooking some of your foods, especially like broccoli and kale, can actually, cooking them a little bit, not frying them or anything like that, but like maybe steaming them or boiling them will actually release some of the vitamins and minerals and make them more digestible to our bodies. I went on a lot of different, diets, as you can see. Some of them might have not been as good for me, but I'm just glad, that I experienced all of them and I got to experiment and get to share this information with you guys. After I went back to eating animal protein, I started to feel more like myself. I started to feel a lot healthier and just energized, and I also noticed that my teeth were actually becoming healthier as well. I'm not judging or looking down on anyone who is vegan or vegetarian or on any of these kind of diets, because I too was once a vegan and a vegetarian. All that I'm saying is that I think a lot of people are just really quick to say that they're going to be vegan or vegetarian without really putting any possible consequences into consideration. And I think if you're not careful, you could actually do your body more harm than good. I do realize, unfortunately, that a lot of animals today, including cattle and chickens and many different animals that we eat as animal protein, are being abused. And that's why I believe it's very important that we find a local source that we trust, and that we know, and that raises their livestock organically. And if you can't find a local farm that you trust, maybe try raising some animals yourself. So overall, I believe that animal protein, if eaten in moderation, that it actually can be very healthy for you. I hope this video helped. I hope you guys liked the video. I hope you guys subscribe to my channel and like the video. If you have any questions or comments, just comment down below. So see you guys in my next video. Bye!